Did you know that you can trust yourself and it's all going to work out for the best? Did you know that your higher self always has the answer and you don't actually have to keep asking and asking the universe for more reassurance, or asking and asking, people around you for advice and reassurance? It's always within you. You can trust yourself, and today we're going to be breaking down those barriers around really trusting ourselves when it comes to really important key situations in our life that sometimes we kind of tend to let go of our control, whether that's knowingly or not knowingly. Today I have a really interesting story from a friend which really inspired me to make this video and share this message. I of course have some personal examples as usual, and I'm just really excited to share it with you. It is very commonly taught to us from a very young age that perhaps we need more advice, we need more guidance, or just that we cannot trust in what we can't see. The whole idea of I'll see it, I'll believe it when I see it, why don't you just trust that it's gonna happen? It's done. Of course, here I'm talking about manifestation and self-development almost in a package together, but this video will encompass so much more than that as well. So if you are interested, please do watch till the end so that I can give you an affirmation on learning to trust yourself a lot more. As always, welcome to Temple Sunshine on YouTube and templeofsunshine.com. I'm very excited to have you here. If you enjoy content which is all about manifesting, affirmations, Taoism, self-development and so much more, then please do subscribe to this channel and give this video a like. It helps me out so much. Anyway, let's not waste more time. Let's get straight into the video. Okay, so I can't guarantee you the best structure of this video because I just have so much to say. So last night I was on the phone to my very, very good friend, and every time I speak to her on the phone, we just come out of it with such good energy. We're both so excited and happy because we're like, this was amazing. Both of us always come out of our phone calls just really supercharged for life. So she was telling me about sort of recent events in her life. She's got a lot going on. So she's doing a master's, but she's also working full time. She's also been seeing this new guy, and she's also got a promotion recently at work. Once again, I keep everyone anonymous, but she's got a promotion recently at work, and it's a lot, if you think about it. A new relationship-ish, a new sort of job role which has more responsibilities, also doing a dissertation, and just trying to sort of stay balanced and learn more, and just being a human being living in London in a high, fast-paced life, even in lockdown. It's difficult, right? Of course. So she was telling me that in many situations, sometimes a bit of chaos entered her life. And I think I've discussed the idea of chaos before, definitely on my TikTok, that chaos tends to come to test you. Actually, no, I've spoken about it in a few recent videos about my friend and her camera and how it came with a life lesson. So go check that video out. It's actually a very interesting story about my friend as well. Different friend. So yeah. She's also been experiencing perhaps mini chaos, but perhaps not as big as my friend in that story, but definitely some chaos. Chaos always is either a test or it's just a distraction until a huge manifestation comes through. I don't know why this happens, and I've also learned this concept from Master Sri Akarshana. He says that chaos happens when you're about to really see your manifestation, but I also believe that chaos is a test of how grounded you can stay and how you can pull out all the things from your spiritual toolbox to deal with chaos. So like with my other friend and also this friend, I was kind of thinking about their situation. I was thinking in chaos, we have one of two options: completely drop and forget everything we've ever learned and spent ages building up in terms of spirituality and learning how to be a better person, a better version of ourselves, to stay centered, stay grounded, go off and meditate, ask your higher self, ask for the answers within, not take other people's validation, blah, 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 blah. Or the other option is that we tune into all of these things and really use everything we've learned while we were in happy, sort of high vibrational states to deal with a negative or chaotic situation. It's very easy to meditate every day and do yoga and go within and ask yourself how you're doing and do your affirmations when you're feeling really great every day. That is not difficult when you're in a good mood. I know. But it's really difficult when you're not in a good mood, when you're feeling very uncertain about the future, or when you're feeling very uncomfortable or with lack of control, or if there's just general chaos going on. It's very hard to just be like, right, it's time to meditate and go within and, you know, see if my higher self has any advice. Usually you're like in panic mode. You're in the sympathetic nervous system, which is pretty much, you know, fight or flight, having to deal with things through a survival mindset, through a lack mindset. It's very hard at times like this to relax, really take deep breaths and act through a place of peace and calm. And I totally get that. So this is where the whole idea of trusting yourself comes in. So she described to me, and I'm not really going to go into it because they're quite personal scenarios, but she described to me sort of 3 situations. One regarding her dissertation deadline and getting things done either earlier in the year or later in the year. She described to me a little situation about the guy that she's dating, and the whole thing's new. So obviously there's the element of when you're in a new relationship of what do they think of me, or what's going on, or where are we, you know, the sort of butterflies, all of that. She described a situation with that, and also being overwhelmed by taking on a lot of responsibilities at work while writing a dissertation, and just in general navigating life. And she said to me something really amazing. She was like, that's when I took a step back and I told myself I trust myself. And I was like, wow, it blew my mind, because this is definitely something I've done in the past, but I've never said it so boldly or so articulate. So I give complete credit to my friend here for this video topic, but she really blew my mind. She just said, okay, so I went against what maybe society would say, and I didn't think about what my friends would say, and I said, I trust myself. So she had a little thing with her dissertation deadline and when she should submit it. Like I said, I'm not going to go into it, it's personal, but essentially she can choose to do it now or later, and it'll have different effects. Not so big though, but it's totally up to her. And we were talking about deadlines we place on ourselves and expectations we have of ourselves, and she said to herself, well, I trust myself. I went within, I meditated when all this chaos was happening with all 3 situations, and I had a little check-in with myself. I had an honest conversation with myself. I asked myself, am I doing this because other people expect it of me, or am I doing this because of other people's opinions of when I should be doing things, or how I should be navigating my new relationship, or how I should be doing and living my life, or is it my higher self telling me to do that? She then finally decided that everything is on our own timeline. Everything is on our own sort of divine timing, as we always say in the spiritual community. And I love that. And she literally just said, I trust myself. And I loved it. And I want to share this concept with you, and times where I've done it in the past. So there were times back in November when my company that I work at was undergoing restructuring. And I remember all of us being at risk, like every single person. Nobody was told that they're 100% safe, maybe like a handful of people, but majority of the company, I'd say 90% of the company, was under risk. And I feel like myself 2 or 3 years ago, or even a year ago, would have been in complete, absolute chaos. And they kept us waiting for, I think, 6 weeks. And this was straight after my poor grandmother, she had just passed. So it was a lot for me to take in. It was chaotic. Thinking back at it now, it was very chaotic, but I didn't let it become chaotic because I went within. I reached into my spiritual toolbox and I calmed down. I had just started my business, just after my grandmother passed, like a few weeks after. So there was a bit of emotional toil around how quickly things were taking off as well. Like, why isn't it getting more attention? How do I attract more sales? So I had a lot of emotional turmoil around the time of grief, my business being slow, and of course, potentially being made redundant. So the whole thing was weighing heavy on my mind. And now that I look back and I describe all these 3 situations, I think, gosh, how did I not completely have a meltdown? And that's what I would have done 2 to 3 years ago, like I said. But what I did was I definitely employed what my friend said of trusting myself, but I did it in my own way without maybe using those words. So I always remind myself, and it's something that Wayne Dyer, Deepak Chopra, everybody's taught me, is that you are the universe, right? I am the universe. I am made of the same atoms and elements of the universe. If this is a concept that confuses you, I definitely have videos on this on my IGTV, but comment below if you want an explanation of why you are the universe, or why you are God, and why that's okay to say. So I definitely reminded myself of the fact that I was an evolution of the universe. I was made of stardust, and what the moon's made of, and even this wall or this iPhone. next to me is made of. So like, what am I worrying about? I'm connected to all that is. And I really reached into my spiritual toolkit in the way that maybe I didn't meditate as much as I should have, but I just reminded myself that if I am the universe and all these things and all my desires are out there, then it's sure to manifest in the way that it's supposed to be. I didn't put down a manifest. Well, I did script about keeping my job for sure, but I also had this detachment in the back of my mind that if worse comes to worse and it happens, I'm let go, I'm given the news, I will deal with that situation if I have to, and also I'm not going to stress about it today because, like I said, I had about a good 6 weeks waiting. Well, everybody did, not just me, but we all had a good 6 weeks of am I not, do I have a job, do I not? And in the midst of that, I could have really allowed the uncertainty to get to me, but I went within and I was like, even if the worst case scenario happens, I'll be okay. I'm protected and I'm guided and I'm divinely sort of led to the next step in my life. I always have been. I've never been through something like a redundancy, but I've been through a lot, and I trust in the universe. I trust God, because I like to use the word God, that things will work out. And I literally said to myself that if I was made redundant, that's it's not okay. Like, I'm going to be upset, but I'm going to be okay. And I've never in my life had such a relaxed attitude to something that could be taken as a crisis. There were even times where I'd speak to my mum and she's like, just affirm for the best scenario. You're going to keep your job and everything's going to be fine. And I did. Like, of course, I was like, everything's fine. I've kept my job. It's all good. But at the same time, in the back of my mind, I just had that detachment because I had so much trust that it was all going to be okay. And I didn't allow external opinions to sort of affect me. Like my mum sort of saying, affirm for the best, because she came from a good place and I was already doing it. And I know she obviously was a little worried inside, but I was like, no, it's okay. I trust. And I want to tell you a really amazing story. Like, I had a dream in the midst of all this chaos of 6 weeks. And I had a dream that it was so weird. Like, I just had so many random people in this dream. But anyway, I got sat down and I was pretty much told that my hours were being reduced. Like, I was going to be working part-time or whatever, which wouldn't really be possible in this job. But it's a dream. It makes no sense. And that my salary was going to go down loads due to this restructuring at my company. And in the dream, I sort of manage, sometimes we become a little conscious in our dream, not like lucid dreaming where you can control everything, but our mind sometimes can take control. Like, you can get out of a dream by saying, I want to wake up, I want to get out of here, like pushing to get out of there. Are you aware of that? I don't know. Basically, that's what I did. I was in the dream and I somehow managed to get like the really negative emotions of being told that my salary was going to go down. And I was just like, I trust God. I trust God. I trust God. And it was so weird. It was so weird. Like, I woke up and I felt really calm, but I literally was like, did you just say that in your dream? Like, did you just say I trust God? Because usually I have a lot of nightmares. In like 2020, I was seeing a lot of nightmares, no more. So I used to have a lot of nightmares. They're manifesting of that. And I used to get really freaked out. I'd wake up, I'd feel like totally, like, sometimes I'd be like sweating from like the stress. But with this dream, with an actual quite realistic scenario going on, I was just like, I trust God. And I woke up and I was like, did you just like chant, I trust God in the middle of your dream? Like, conversation with myself. And I was like, yeah. And it really, really came out to me at that point that where my friend is saying I trust myself, I trust God, I trust the universe, because I have it within me. The power is within me, and it just amazed me, guys. In the end, I did end up keeping my job. My business did really, really well the following months, in November and December. And what was my third scenario? I don't even remember now. Like, our problems feel like they didn't even happen. Oh, my grandma. Yes. So obviously grief takes its natural process, but we just don't even remember sort of the chaos we went through at a time. Like, you'll look back in 2 months and be like, what happened? I don't even remember. And at the time it was huge. And it just blew my mind that I could, in my, dream state, my subconscious mind was like, I trust God. And this is conditioning of the mind. This is brainwashing myself before anybody brainwashes me. This is not allowing society to get in my head, because I've literally taught myself over the years that I have so much faith in the universe and myself that it's gonna work out. Even if the worst happens, something will happen. and my life will get sorted out. I just built so much trust within myself, in the divine, in something beyond me, and something so much larger than me, that it has made me feel so much stronger in times that are testing. Because I always say, like, you know, it's not that when you tap into your spiritual self that nothing bad will ever happen to you, or you'll never undergo tests. I think a lot less bad things will happen to you because your mind is geared to expected things. Like, I believe that. But I do believe sometimes, like, negative things will happen. Like, for example, my grandma passing, that was bound to happen one day, right? Nobody's immortal. It's just how you react to it. It's just how you take it in. And I'm so proud of myself now. Like, I'm only learning this lesson now after speaking to my friend yesterday. But I really went within, and I really just said, like, I leave it all up to you, the universe, and you'll protect me, you'll guide me, and I love it. So I hope you learned something today, and I hope you found this interesting. If you are going through something now, then really go within and remind yourself that every point until now, you've had your own back. You've come up with the best solution. You've sorted it out, regardless of how big the situation was. And that's probably, you know, the universe manifesting within you, protecting you, guiding you, however you want to view it, whether it's yourself or the universe, whatever resonates with you the most. Remind yourself that I've got this. I've always got this. In the past, who helped me out of situations? Me. I did it. So I'm going to do it again. And if you're not in a tough time, I'm really happy for you, but just remember this. Remember this in mundane activities every day. Recently, I've been trying to, you know, I'll be very honest with you, sort of shift off some extra weight so that I can feel healthier. It's not always about looks. And I used to really be in this mindset, I can't lose weight. That I never make good choices for myself, or I never sort of eat healthy, or I'm very fickle in the way that I see a piece of cake and I just collapse. Recently, I've been in a mindset this time around that I trust myself. I trust myself to make good decisions for my body. I trust myself to eat things that I enjoy, so obviously not restrictive, but also control when I need to, and it not feel really horrible and restrictive. You know, I trust myself to have that balance. I trust myself to find what's right for me. And that's been working out really well for me. It has been working, and this is the first time that I've taken this attitude of I trust myself rather than you need to stop eating because you're a fat pig, you know, like this is the first time I'm doing it through positivity. And before, I thought self-love was just telling myself that I'm really slim and gorgeous in the mirror, and that wasn't working for me, and that was actually creating a lot of resistance. This time around, the self-love and self-discipline is that I'm doing this for me. I'm doing this because I love myself, and it's just reminding myself that, you know, this doesn't have to be a perfect journey, and I don't need to get angry at myself if I slip up here and there. Anyway, as always, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, and please do subscribe to my channel. It helps me out lots and lots. And as always, see you guys next time. Love you lots.